This presentation is to help you in writing up your research report, in presenting what you have found out for other people to read. Research reports generally structured in a very similar ways. We'll have an introduction, a literature review, a methodology section, a findings section, discussion, conclusions, and then this is followed by references and appendices. And as you can see, this is a lot of big words. So what we're going to do is try and find out what these big words mean and how we can simplify this. So what do the big words mean? So the introduction, this is where you're going to state what the issue is or what the problem is. What is it that you want to investigate? What do you want to find out? What is it that will make is an interesting problem that you've got within your practice, within your school, or whatever your context? And again, here you're going to have to explain what the context is, what the background is, how this fits in, and how you're interested in this area. This is then followed by the literature review, and this is where you go away and you try and find out everything that we, as in the world, already knows about this problem. So what do we already know about this issue or problem? One thing you might already find out, one thing you might find out is that it's already been answered. And in the course of your literature review, you find out that the problem you're interested in has already been answered by research previously. Of course, therefore, you need to find another problem. But hopefully, you've got a good, interesting problem, and your literature review will reveal that other people have tried, maybe looked at this problem before, but have got it in a slightly different context, and therefore you've got a gap in the knowledge that you can fill with your study. So that moves on to the methodology, and this is just about what are you going to do to find the data to answer the question. So what methods are you going to use that will get this data that you can then use to answer the question that you proposed in your introduction section? And within this, we're going to be interested in who are you going to ask, how are you going to ask them, so what's your sample going to be, what methods are you going to use to gather data from this sample. For example, will you be interviewing children? Will you be interviewing teachers? Will you be doing big surveys or questionnaires? You need to consider things like how you would pilot your methods. Do people understand the questions? These kind of things. And equally, we need to consider issues such as ethics. Is what you are doing safe for you and for the people that you are talking to as well? So after the methodology, hopefully you've gone out, you've decided on the methods, you go and put these to the participants that you're gathering your data from, and you come back and you have some findings, you have some data, and you can then present this data, be it the data from questionnaires or more of a qualitative data that comes from interviews and such like. And you literally kind of present and highlight and show what you have found. The next section after that is the discussion chapter or section where what does this mean? So you've found all this stuff out. What does it mean? And what does it mean into relationship to what other people have found out before? So with regard to the stuff that you found in the literature review, what have you found out and how do these two things relate together? Hopefully you've got enough data as well that's going towards answering the question. Then we get to the conclusion, and this is where you state, this is my original problem or question, and this is my answers from my data that I discussed before, that I presented in the findings, that I gathered through the methods that I used in the methodology chapter. This is the answer to the questions. And from that, then, anything you would recommend. From the answer to this, we can see that we should change practice in a certain way, or we should be now thinking about doing things differently. After that, you have references, which is just a big list of everything you read in a certain way, and depending on which university or where you're based will depend on how they want that done. and beyond that is dependencies, where you put everything else that may have been useful. You may put your data in here, you will definitely put your questionnaire in here, definitely things around gaining consent and these kind of things. Okay. So summing up of this, you need to make sure that you know what your problem is. You need to make sure that nobody's answered this before. That will be in your literature review. You need to make sure that you're using methods that will be appropriate to gather data that will answer this question. There's no point in gathering data that doesn't answer the question. That's going to be a waste of your time. As we stay there, making sure the data answers the question. Then we relate what you found out to what everybody else has done, answer the question, make some recommendations, and write 2 lists at the end, references and appendices. Hope that makes sense. Good luck. Thank you.